Okay, this is exciting. We're going to model a bicycle in Univah. And this is inspired by this image that I saw in Maya. Since I don't know anything about 3D modeling, if I can do it, I know you'll be able to do it. So let's start with the primitive. So, step one, it looks like from the image, the two wheels, I'm going to start with the wheels because that's the easiest. So it looks like the two wheels are made with Tauruses. So let's do that. Quickly, I just want to show you that Univah does have a Notes app. And you can use the Notes app to actually just import your images so that you can work from a reference image. Okay. All right. So I have one Taurus. I'm going to go to the attribute editor. And I'm going to just edit some of these attributes to make it look like a bicycle wheel. And once I have the shape that I like and the size, then we're going to hit Control F to make a copy. And now we have our two wheels. Okay, great. So far, so good. Considering I know nothing about 3D modeling, I've made two bicycle wheels in less than 1 minute. So that's a really good sign. To make life easier for myself, I'm just going to go ahead and name these front wheel and back wheel. I'm going to take the back wheel and I'm going to drag it into the front wheel so we can make a parent and child relationship. That way, when I click on one object, it moves the other. And I can also click on the child and move it separately if I need to. Great. So very quickly, we've made two wheels and we have a parent and child relationship going on. Now, let's take a look at our picture. Okay, I'm going to add probably a cylinder because from the image, it looks like there's a lot of cylinder work going on here. So let's add our main cylinder and we're just going to reshape it using our gizmos. And if you want to download Univah Lite and follow along with me, that would be great. This is a great way to learn Univah. So to show the gizmos, you can just use the keyboard shortcuts, which is Z, X, and C. Alternatively, you can also go to the attribute editor and use the transforms. So yeah, I'm just going to try to work off of this reference image. And again, you can just copy that image and bring it directly into Univah using the Notes app in Univah if you want to just have that image right inside of Univah. I just chose not to, okay? So, okay, we're just going to keep editing the shape and position and rotation of this rod until it looks correct. And yeah, that looks good. So I'm going to make a duplicate of that cylinder and I'm going to use it to make the bottom part. And this should be fun because I'm just going to rotate it like that. And then I'm going to scale it up to make that bottom part. I'm just trying to make life easier for myself, guys. I feel like this is the best way to do it. I'm just gonna um, I'm just gonna copy the cylinders to make other shapes because that's basically what it looks like the Maya person did. So I'm gonna make this flatter. And okay, so that looks like it works for me. I don't know, should I make it bigger? Mm, it's fine. I'm just going to make a copy of this since I like it. And we're going to push this to the back wheel because the back wheel needs this as well. So great. And then we have another one in the middle. Yeah, this one in the middle, same deal. So we're just going to hit Control F, make another copy, bring this to the middle, but make this one bigger. We're going to scale this up. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to make the foundational pieces of this bicycle. And that looks like it's good. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's add more foundational pieces. So we have this rod, and now we have just a bunch of cylinders making triangles. So let's make this rod going from there. So let's copy this one, Control F again. And I'm just going to bring this right here because it's perpendicular to the other rod. So yeah, let's have this going like in parallel directions. So that just makes it easier. I'm going to maybe, because like, I don't know. It's been a long time since I sat on a bicycle, but I think typically the seat is a little higher than like the bar, or no. I'm not sure. But anyway, we're going to use this sphere to make the seat. Okay, so let me go back and reset. And I'm going to scale this properly. Okay, good. So, yeah, this is good. That's okay. Yeah, that's not looking too good. Yeah. Okay. So that's a good start. We have the underlining shape, but it's not too pretty right now. So let's make it smaller and then flatter and wider. Let's make it flatter and wider. Scale it on the Z. Flat. Yeah, there we go. So that is starting to match a bit more of what the Maya guy did in Maya. Okay, so we have a foundational pieces. It's coming together, guys. It's coming together. So, okay. What do you guys think so far of 3D modeling in Univah? Now, of course, Univah is not a 3D modeling tool. It's not designed to be a 3D modeling tool. And that's why I wanted to do this, because if we can take something that's not originally designed to be a 3D modeling tool and it can model things faster than SketchUp just because it's so intuitive, and if it can model things faster than Maya, like basic shapes, basic things, then that's very promising because essentially now we can take this much further and we can develop a full 3D modeling suite. Okay, so it's really up to us what we want this tool to be. Okay, but it's not a 3D modeling tool. However, what I want to show you is that even though it's not a 3D modeling tool, if I'm able to make some pretty interesting things just by fooling around and without spending so much time on it and just having fun with the tool, then I'm sure if you put Univah in the hands of an expert 3D modeler, even though Univah is not a 3D modeling tool, they'll be able to create incredible things using this software. Okay. So it's really just creativity and skill. All right. So I am just following the same routine. And that's the great thing about Univah is that once you have a routine or a pattern, you can just repeat the pattern to make more shapes. The workflow is the same. Control F to duplicate. Use the gizmos to position, to rotate, to scale. And by just repeating that over and over, as you can see, we're making some pretty interesting stuff. So our bicycle is almost done. We just have to make this triangle. We have to make another copy. So yeah, I think that should be a little higher up. That's probably right. Okay. So now we have this rod that goes that way, that bar, and then this one kind of making this triangle right here. So we're just going to make one more to connect it. Now, which one should we copy? This one, yeah, this should be okay. We'll copy this one to make that final triangle. And we're just gonna rotate it on the Z. There we go. Okay, so we have now our, and again, depending on your artistic choice, I like it when I have things kind of protruding. Um, so I like a little, protrusion like that. Yeah, I like when things look that way. But yeah, definitely don't do that. If you're going for an accurate 3D modeling, you definitely don't want to have things protruding the way that I have it right now. Okay, so yeah, that's good. Now, we're just going to make another copy, and then we're going to rotate this one. And this is going to be, I think, our final bar. I think after this one, because I'm not going to make the handles. I'm not going to do the handlebars. So, yeah, we're just going to stop here. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, so okay, yeah, according to the image, this bar really should be up top. It should be higher up. However, I've decided I don't want to do that. So, yeah, this bar not supposed to be there. According to the image, it should be above. So our bicycle may not be structurally sound and it might be extremely unsafe to ride, but this is art. So I'm just going to leave it like that because that's really where it's supposed to be. It should be up there. But I don't feel like elongating the other bar and then moving the seat up. I don't feel like doing all that because if I put the bar here, then I'm going to have to elongate this back bar that has the seat on it. And I don't feel like it. I don't want to. So I'm just going to put it there. Going to make it shorter so it's not protruding like that. Yeah. So this is an interesting design. I'm going to patent this. So, because you never know. Yeah, that's great. So, okay, I've decided that we're done. And I'm just going to go ahead now and make this into one giant group so that we can move everything together. So I'm just going to drag everything into here. And great. Now we have this bicycle. All right. Cool. Now, let's see. There's a lot we can do. This is what's fun about Univah. Now that we have this bicycle, we can do whatever we want to each individual shape. So I can make this really interesting, low poly looking. Yeah, this is where things get really fun and very procedural. And this is so much fun. Oh, that's fun. That is interesting. Yeah. So I can now select on each primitive. And because each primitive has its parameters, we can, of course, use the attribute editor parameters to really change the way this looks. But of course, I'm not going to be able to simply rotate this wheel since I decided to make the wheel the parent of literally the whole bicycle, which was very wrong. As you can see now, when you try to animate it, I should have made a master object and then made the wheels. Yeah. So I've made the wheel the parent of everything. So obviously, when I rotate it, everything else moves. However, it's not the end of the world because I'll just make a simple translate animation there. Great, just like that, our bicycle is in motion. Okay. Also, if I really want to, I can animate the back wheel at least, but it's not going to look too cool in its current state. So let me make it low poly so that we can actually tell that the wheel is spinning. So I'm just going to make the wheel blocky and not so smooth so that we can add some rotation to this wheel and we can actually see it rotating. Okay, so, all right. Okay. Um, let's see. Let's go back. I'm going to loop this. Let's add an end marker and loop our animation. Okay, great. So I don't really care too much for the translation. I really only care about seeing the back wheel spinning. And right now, I'm not really able to tell if the back wheel is spinning because our translation animation is just dominating this whole effect. So I don't know. I'll probably just remove it and focus more so on the back wheel animation. I think that's going to make me much happier. All right. So, yeah, that's really something there. That's fun. This seat looks a little boring to me, so I'm going to make it look better. Let's change it to an icosphere, and we're going to make it look really low poly. And then I'm going to use my sphere to cube blend, which makes the sphere look like a cube. And now it looks more like a seat. So that looks much sexier than what the guy did in Maya. And just by lowering the poly, just, making it look really abstract, very low poly, we can make it smooth if we want to. But um, I prefer when it looks blocky. I think it looks really cool. Yeah. And we can control that sphere to cube blend. So I think it looks fine like that. Let's leave it. And now with our cylinder selected, here's what's cool about this. We can use our parameters to make this top heavy or bottom heavy. We can add a twist. We can do so much. We can add a taper. We can do a lot to make this look different. Yes. So even though Univah is not a 3D modeling tool, and I don't know anything about 3D modeling, I'm still able to make some really cool things. And that's the point of Univah. We wanted it to be like SketchUp, but modern. What made SketchUp so fun was that even if you had no 3D modeling experience, literally anybody can go into SketchUp, and just by fooling around with some simple tools, you can make furniture, you can make houses. It's really amazing. So, by clicking on each of these cylinders and then using the parameters in the attribute editor, we can really change the way this looks. I love the bevel effect because it gives it nice round edges at the top there. It's really nice. But I think we're just going to leave that main bar alone, that main rod. And okay, so that's something. Let's change the rendering style to PBR and let's see how this looks. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the IBL intensity to about 1. Great. And so now we can see our 3D model in a physically based rendering setting. Looking pretty good. I think I should probably make it a bit more low poly. And of course, using per object styling, this is where things get really exciting because now we can add textures to our bicycle. We can upload textures. We can make things metallic. We can click on each of these primitives and give it a texture or a color. We can author some PBR materials. Using the global styles, we can make everything metallic. Using per object styling, that's for styling each object individually. So as you see here, so this is individual styling, whereas to the right, that is global styling. Okay. So when we click on the parent, we can change the color of everything or select each individual child to give it a specific color. And of course, we still have that animation, which right now I think I'm going to just delete these keyframes and I'm only going to keep the keyframes for the rotation of the back bicycle wheel. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to click on this and just hit the minus. You can also just hit the delete key to delete the keyframes. Let's drag this, hit the minus to delete that keyframe. So that's gone. You see, it's no longer moving. And we're just going to keep the rotation for the back wheel. I'm going to drag this end marker so that it has a perfect loop and maybe move it a bit more. So again, it's a perfect loop. Okay, good. So now we have a perfect looping rotation of that back wheel. That looks fun. And now we can do our scene style switching. This is the beauty of Univah. Look at how we switch styles while the animation is playing. This is the power of Univah. Switching styles while the animation is playing. Because this is not AI. If this was AI, you would have to, go and type a text prompt, wait for it to regenerate in a different rendering style. And then you have to hope that it gives you the exact same scene, that it's consistent. You don't have those worries with Univah because Univah is not AI. Everything is instant. If we want wireframe, we switch to wireframe. If you want to go back to sketch, we switch back to sketch. Notice how it's instant. Animation is still playing. Okay, so this is the beauty of Univah. It makes working so much faster. And now we can click on each individual object and change the rendering style just for that object. So we can have the seat in wireframe only and the back wheel in wireframe only while everything else is in sketch. Wow. Amazing. It's awesome. Awesome. So let's go ahead and put that back to sketch. And now when we switch styles, you see here, everything is beautiful. This is PBR. Just like that, we're switching styles. That's paint. This is cell shading. Wow, look at that beautiful cell shader. Oh, wow. And now we can tweak all of these rendering styles. So these aren't just presets. You can tweak everything. So you can make the cell shading look as different as you want. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration of 3D modeling.